right, today we are back to playing some Flames of War. We're going to have 250 points of mid-war British against 250 points of Germans and Italians. Here's a look at our table. We're going to go with a little larger table because we increased our points a bit. We're going to have a bit of maybe an Italian campaign industrial area. So that's why we have all these factories and silos and such things. So we've got plenty of terrain, we've got roads, we've got buildings to block line of sight, we've got some forests, and there's a little bit of farmland all the way over here on this corner. So that's our table. We will go over to the armies and then we'll get started. So first up, we have our Germans, which are going to be in a Panzer IV formation. So we have a Panzer IV HQ. We have 2 units of 3 Panzer IVs. We have a unit of 5 Panzer IIs. We have a unit of 4 Panzer IIIs in support. A unit of 10.5 centimeter guns in support. They have a Panzer II Observer. We have a unit of 7 bases of Fallschirmjägers and a unit of the SDKFZ's 231s. So that is 125 points of Germans. And then we will go over to their Italian allies. Okay, here's a look at our Italian allies. That is going to be a heavy tank formation. They are going to have an M1441 HQ. For the formation, they're going to have a unit of, what are these guys? P2640s and a unit of Semaventi long barrels. In support, we're going to have a rifle company with 5 bases, a unit of 100 millimeter howitzers, 2 88 flak guns, and then for the wild card slot, we're going to have the unit of Semaventi 90s. So that is 125 points of Italian, making a total of 250 points for the Axis. Oh, and the Germans also brought along pure luck. So there we are. And now we will move over to the British. All right, walk me through what the British have.
Okay, bulk of the points are going to a Churchill formation, led by a Churchill 3 with his CSs. You also got a Grand formation, 3 in each squad,
Okay.
and a decently sized British infantry formation. It
Okay.
appears that the way they set up their tanks also funnels into their infantry.
Gotcha.
For support, we got 25 pounders, Valentine 3s, Crusader 3s, 2 diamonds and a dingo for recon, 4 priests, a honey observer, and 2 Kitty Hawk planes.
Which will be interesting because I think over on the Axis side we only have 1 AA unit with the Italians 88s. So those Kitty Hawks might be running around unchecked. So that'll be interesting. All right, so that is all of our British. We will go ahead and go through deployment, and we will bring you guys back after we're all deployed. All right, we are all deployed. Going down the line here. I'll go down the access side. We have our 231s up here. We have a unit of Panzer IVs, the HQ Panzer IV, and the Martyrs behind these trees. Next to that objective, we've got the 10.5 centimeters over here. the unit of Italian M1441s, Italian rifles, Italian 88s, the Italian HQ in his M1440, the Italian quote heavy tanks, the P2640s, another unit of German Panzer IVs, Italian 100 millimeters, the Panzer II Observer. The Panzer IIs moved up to there with their spearhead, and the Fallschirmjägers deployed behind the building after the spearhead. The Semiventi long barrels, the Semiventi 90s, and the German Panzer IIIs. So that is the access lines. You want to run us through the British?
Got the Valentines, the 25 pounders, the Churchills, infantry, Grants, more infantry, Honey Observer, Grand HQ, infantry HQ, Churchill HQ, more infantry, more Grants, priests, Churchills, recon, more infantry, and the Crusaders.
All right, there we are. The Axis has one first turn, so they will be the attackers. We are going to stick with the Clash of Steel scoring, as we have objective 3, 1, and over there in the corner 2. So, again, we are more familiar with the Clash of Steel scoring, so we're just going to stick with that so that we can have much more of a back and forth game. And before I forget, the Italians, 1 million bayonets rule. The infantry company is elite. The heavy tank platoon is elite. Oh, no, I'm sorry. The regular M1441s are elite. The Semiventi 90s are elite, and the HQ is elite. So those are the ones that rolled that up. All right, we will get started, and we will bring you guys after Access turn 1. At the end of Access turn 1, this is where things sit at. So starting down here, the 231s moved back to here to hold this objective. The Panzer IVs moved up into the woods and took out the Daimlers and the Dingoes. We took 2 out, and 1 was bailed out, but he passed his motivation test and remounted, but then he failed his last stand test and took off. The Martyrs bounced some shells off the Churchills. The 10.5 centimeters, they failed to range in and do anything. Over here, the Italian infantry moved up and captured that objective. The 88s actually managed to take out a Churchill over there on the other side. The Fallschirmjägers are occupying this warehouse over here. The commander for the Italians ranged in for these 100 centimeters, and they ranged in over there, took out a couple infantry bases, and that's about it. Over here, these Panzer IIIs failed a blitz, but they were out of range to shoot at anything anyway. The Semiventi 90s completely whiffed with their shots. And then over here, the Semiventi longs bounced some shells off the Grants. At the end of the turn, the Axis is going to be up with 9 points. We got 3 points for taking out a unit, which would be the Daimlers. And we hold 1, 2 objectives. And then the British control the objective over there in the corner. So it's 9 points to 3 right now as we go into British turn 1. So looking pretty good for the Axis so far. We'll see how things go. And British turn 1, and this is how things sit. Over here, everybody kind of came up and tried to take aim at either the Semiventi longs or the Semiventi 90s. The Valentines didn't really do anything to the longs. The Churchills managed to, the Churchills and the Grants managed to bail out 3, but they all remounted at the end of the turn. The 25 pounders, they didn't take anything out, but they did range in, so that's not good because those guys have terrible top armor. Over here, these Grants came around the corner and destroyed 2 of the Panzer IIs, and then the anti-tank gun in that unit of infantry took out another one. These guys tried to fire off some shots at the Fallschirmjägers and failed. Over here, the Churchill CS over there managed to range in on this unit of infantry, so they need to figure out somewhere to go. Moving on over here, I don't think these Grants were in range to shoot anyone. The Churchills took shot at my Martyrs, but didn't manage to hit. The Crusaders over there bounced some shells off the Panzer IVs, and that's pretty much it. So the Germans still hold 1-2 objectives, gaining us another 6 points, and the British still hold that far objective. So we are sitting at 15 points to 6 in favor of the Germans. So we are going to go, the Axis. So we're going to go over to Axis turn 2 and see if we can maintain hold of this lead. This is where we sit at the end of German turn 2. The Panzer IV commander moved up to here, tried to shoot at the Crusaders and missed. The unit commander of this squad, he fired over here and took out one of those Crusaders. These guys managed to bail out a Churchill, who still bailed out. The Martyrs bounced some shells off the Churchills. The 10.5 centimeters, they, thanks to the help of the Panzer II spotter, did a long bombardment over to this squad and pinned them. Didn't take any out, but did manage to pin them. Moving over here, these Italian, what are they? They are the M14s. They managed to pin this unit, but they unpinned at the end of the turn. The 88s managed to take out and bail out another Churchill here in the center. The Italian troops moved in and occupied the building. Combined fire from the Italians, the Panzer IIs, and the Fallschirmjägers in this building pinned this unit down and took out a couple of their bases. The Panzer IVs failed a blitz, moved up to here, took out one of these Grants. This unit back here was, oh, that's right, they were targeted by the 10.5 centimeters. The 100 millimeters of the Italians, they rearranged into here but didn't do anything. The Panzer IIIs managed to take out the one of the Grants up there. The Semiventi 90s, they did not move, so they're still stuck in under that ranged in marker from the Brits, but they did take out one of the Churchills, making life a little bit easier for everyone. And the Semiventi Longs, they took out two of the Valentines creeping up the flank over here. So that is where everything sits. We did have to do a slight correction on the points because we forgot last turn. Nobody saw this Honey contesting this objective here, so we did readjust the points. So this turn, this one is still contested by the Italians and the Honey. The Germans control this one, and the Brits control this one all the way over here. So we are sitting at 17 points right now for the Germans and 12 points for the British. So that is where we are. The Brits are in a really good position to strike back this turn. So we will catch you guys back up after Brits turn 2. All right, this is how things look at the end of British turn 2. The Brits are definitely hitting back. The Crusaders snuck around here and took out the German HQ. Over the rest of here, the priests in the back managed to range into here, but didn't take anybody out, but they are now ranged in. The Churchill there is still bailed out. Moving on down here, the the British troops moved up into this factory, and then the pinned down troops here all fired in on these Italians and pinned them down. Working down the line. Oh, these Grants came around the forest and took out this unit of Italian M14s. Moving on over to here, The Grants over there took out one of the Panzer IVs, and the what is that fella? Churchill there took out one of my Semaventi 90s. The 25 pounders in the back, they are still ranged in here. They did bail out two of these Semaventi 90s, but they did remount at the end of the turn. So that is where we're sitting. The British, because they destroyed two units and they control and contest an objective, are up to 22, and the Germans, for controlling and contesting, are up to 21. So a slight British lead as we get ready to go into German turn 3. This is a really close game, so I'm pretty happy with it so far. So we will catch you guys back up after Access turn 3. We had an excellent turn 3 for the Axis. Over here, the Semaventi Longs finished off the Valentines. Over here, the Panzer IIIs managed to destroy another one of these Grants. They bailed one out, but he did remount at the end of the turn, because that's how we do it in the Clash of Steel system. Over here, the Semaventi 90s managed to finish off the last Churchill. Then moving on, the Panzer IVs here bailed out both of those Grants sitting back there. Let's see, the 100 millimeters, they pinned down this infantry unit. The Fallschirmjägers, the Panzer IIs, they managed to take off a couple more of these guys, but didn't pin them. The Italians failed to unpin. They traded some shots back and forth with the Brits in the other warehouse. The 88s back here did take out the last Churchill coming down the road, so that's a plus. The P-26s moved up and tried to fire at those Grants, but just bounced some shells off of them. Moving down over here, the Martyrs did bail out that Churchill, but he managed to remount. The 10.5 centimeters, they took out a couple bases from this unit over here. And then the Panzer IVs here, they failed their blitz tests, but they did manage to score 3 hits and destroy this unit of Crusaders sneaking around the corner. So because the Germans took out a couple units and we are holding one objective and contesting another, are up to 37 points. And the Brits are, again, holding an objective and contesting, and they're at 26. So a nice swing in favor of the Germans, but the Brits will have a turn to try and strike back. So still what I consider a relatively close game, and we'll catch up with you guys after British turn 3. All right, here on turn 3 for the British, the Kitty Hawks finally showed up. They tried to go after these guns here. They did range in on their first attempt, but they didn't manage to take any out. Over here, the 25 pounders went after the Semaventis again, but didn't manage to do anything. Over here, this infantry team, they assaulted the Panzer IVs, and the Panzer IVs had to break off. Over here, where was the other assault? Over here, this infantry team assaulted the 231s, destroyed one. The other one had to fall back and then failed his motivation test at the end of the turn, or his last stand test, and they got points for that. The Grants here, with assistance from the priests, took out the Martyrs and one gun team over here. So the Brits got more points for that. And am I missing anything else? Oh, this rifle team up in the building, they took out a couple of these Italian troops up here. Anything else? Oh, and we had this team here assaulted the Panzer IIs, but the Panzer IIs managed to hold them off, and they had to withdraw to there. So that is where we sit. The Germans are still contesting this objective. That little honey sitting back there, nobody quite can see him. And the Germans are holding this objective, so they got 4. The Brits are contesting and holding this objective over here. along with their points for destroying 2 units. So they are up to 36 points to 41 for the Germans. So the Germans are, or I'm sorry, the Axis is still ahead, but the lead is getting slimmer. So we will see what happens on Axis turn 4. This is where we sit at the end of Axis turn 4. These guys tried to fire off machine guns into this infantry to no avail. Over here, these guys tried to fire off into the Grants. Nothing happened. The Italians managed to destroy 1 Grant into the side. Over here, these 2 infantry units threw shots back and forth. These Panzer IIs and the Fallschirmjägers finished off a unit of infantry down there. The Panzer IIIs came around the corner here, along with help from this Panzer II, and did some damage to that rifle team. Over here, the Italian 100 millimeters managed to pin this team, and then the Semiventis shot them up with machine guns. And the Semiventi Longs tried to take out that last Grant hiding behind the building. They bailed him out, but he got back in. So that's where we sit. The Germans are up to 51 points this round, and the Axis is up to 51 points, and the British are sitting at 40. So we still have a close game as we head into British turn 4. Here we are at the end of British turn 4, and a very good turn for the Brits. These infantry moved up and assaulted these tanks. They destroyed 1, and 1 had to fall back. The priests managed to re-range in over here, but didn't destroy anyone. The Grants there took out 1 of the Italian P-26s. Over here, the British infantry assaulted the Italians in the building and destroyed them, and now they're holding that objective. Over here, these 2 Grants bailed out 1 of these Panzer IVs, but he remounted at the end of the turn. The 25-pounders shot 1 of the Panzer IIIs in the back. And what else did... Oh, these guys moved into the building here and took some shots at the Panzer II Observer, but didn't manage to do anything. The British destroyed a unit, and now they control 1, 2, 3 objectives. So they have taken a lead with 52 points to the Germans' 51. So that is how we sit at the end of British turn 4. And we're now going to go on to Axis turn 5 and see if we can pull the lead back. All right, we'll bring you guys back after that. End of Axis turn 5. And this is where we sit. We had the Panzer IIIs move around there to take on the 25-pounders. We took out 1 of them and pinned them. The Semiventis fired their machine guns off into these guys and pinned them. The Semiventi 90s decided to move off this way. The Panzer IVs they blitzed back to there and took out the last of that Grant, scoring us points for that guy. The this guy failed his last stand test, and so we got points for that. Moving back over here, the Fallschirmjägers exchanged some shots with these British troops in the building, so we pinned them. And then moving down here, the Italians moved over into here and took out another one of these Grants. The other one failed his last stand check, so the Grant formation is broken. But the British still have the Churchill formation holding strong, because there's not much we can do to shake that guy. The British are controlling 1, 2, 3 objectives still, because the Panzer IV or the Panzer IIIs over there are not close enough to contest that one. So they are up to 61 points. And because of the Grant units that we took out, the Germans are up to 60. So that is where we sit as we head into British turn 5. Still a very close game, 60 to 61 points. All right, we will bring you guys back after British turn 5. All right, end of British turn 5, and the Brits are still holding strong. The Kitty Hawks came in again. They dropped their bombardment here and took out one of these Italian 100 millimeters. The 25 pounders, they bounced some shots off of those Panzer 3s. These guys bounced some shots off of this Panzer 2, these two infantry teams. And then moving down over here, the Churchill bounced some shots off of my last Panzer IV over here. But the Brits are still in control of all 3 objectives at the end of turn 5. So that gives them 71 points to the Axis 60. So as we go into Axis turn 6, we will see if they can still pull this one out. All right, looking things over at the beginning of Axis turn 6, I don't think the Axis really has the ability to come back on this one, because at best, this is where the P-26s could get to. They're not going to be able to do anything to this Churchill because they had to dash to get to there. I'm not going to be able to move these guys off this objective, even with the help of these guns. I might be able to take this objective or contest it, but that's not going to be enough to overcome the British's advantage. And I don't think I'm going to be able to stop those 25 pounders. Might be able to take one of them out, but I don't think I'm going to be able to take all of them out. So I think we are going to call this one in favor of the British. The British just had that really good turn where they managed to take all the objectives. I would say the only big mistake, that's just a giant dog rolling in the living room over there, having his day. I think the biggest mistake is forgetting about this Honey and letting him sit there and contest that one until the infantry could push the Italians off that objective. So that really hurt. And then not doing enough to stop this infantry from getting through. So maybe we should have pulled more things out of the center and focused there. What do you think? Anything you want to add?
I'm definitely impressed with the infantry and how their assaults managed to turn the tide of the game.
Yeah, that was really good. I also think I shouldn't have left the Fallschirmjägers in this building so long. They probably could have helped out with maybe pushing off this infantry unit or keeping these guys contained.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, I was impressed with some of the Italian tanks were a little bit better than I thought they were going to be. I always think Panzer IVs do well. I think maybe moving them up to 4 tanks per unit is probably a better idea than 3. And the Panzer IIs were fun to use. What about for you?
I was definitely impressed with the tanks. The Grants managed to hold out a while. The Churchills didn't last as long, but I think that's just because you brought in a bit more anti-tank weapons than I thought.
Well, these Churchills here in the center, they had to roll down the street to these 88s for a couple turns, so that's not going to be good for them. Over here, the Semoventis managed to take care of the other unit of Churchills on this flank. But really, if it had to been for you just not being very lucky with your bombardment on that unit, then they probably would have gotten eaten up fast.
Mm-hmm. I also hope the planes would have done a bit more, since they didn't really come in that much. I definitely think we should probably just have the 3 up to come in rather than a 4 up.
Yeah, that's a possibility. We might house rule that. You know what else was a big turner, I think?
What?
Losing the martyrs.
Mm.
Losing those and not having anything to really stop this Churchill from rolling around over here, that really kind of hurt.
Mm.
But all in all, I think it was a fun game. Definitely, I like the larger size of Flames of War. I don't know if we would do 250 all the time, but definitely 125 to 150 seems like a little bit more to work with.
Yeah.
All right, anything else you want to add?
I'm definitely starting to realize that using artillery firing against tanks isn't entirely working out the way I thought it would.
Yeah, it's more for pinning and trying to take out infantry, I think. There goes that dog again.
Yeah, I definitely can't wait to see on what some of my lists can do if you take on more infantry heavy lists.
Yeah, I think next time I might, if I do Germans again, I might take a Panzer Grenadier company, see how that works. But I'm also giving some thoughts to Americans, so maybe we'll have the Americans and Soviets tangle next time. All right. All right, that's it for us. Thank you guys for watching. We might be back with some 40K or Clash of Steel next time. Till then, everybody have a happy new year.